All right. So you did a really nice job of noticing things and kind of using your noticings. We were able to make a list of some of the things that you pointed out. So, a multi genre project is a collection of writing that is focused on the same topic, and it uses multiple genres or types of writing. There are different points of view. So it's not just my point of view or your point of view, but there's different voices incorporated. There are pictures, and there's different fonts and some kind of like visual aspect, right? So here's what it is for you. In your multi-genre project, these are the things you're going to do. You're going to include at least 4 pieces of writing centered around a topic that you choose. Mr. Dix will be doing mini lessons about different kind of writing that you can maybe use, but you can also pick any kind of writing that you know. You are going to include visuals with your writing, and so you get to figure out what that means. And you're going to show evidence of writer's craft to communicate your ideas. So there's going to be like effort, right? It's going to be good writing. So let's go ahead right now and let's generate some ideas. So you might make a table in your notebook. I like this. And then I'm just going to kind of like do a little brain blast for some ideas. So you might do the same thing. So I kind of think about like general categories of topics that I might write about, and I think about my family. I write a lot about my grandma, and she was my like elementary school teacher, and she was just really close. I was very close to her, and she died in January. So I have a lot to say about her. I might write about my dad. He was a roofer, and some of you know, he has struggled with alcoholism for most of my life that I can remember. So I might write about that. So I'm going to write my dad there. I could write about my sisters, and I'm just going to add our adventures. I have 13-year-old kids, twins, and when I think about what I was doing when I was 13, and I was like a good kid, but still, I was like having adventures. And so I might think about that. I might think about what it means to be the oldest in my family. I might think about my mom. I could write a lot about my mom and like her crazy, almost like dares that she would do when we were kids. Okay, when I think about music, I could think about the musicians that I love. So I could write a multi-genre project about the Beatles, maybe. Or I really love this artist named Ani DeFranco, so I could write about her. I could write about learning how to play the recorder, and that was kind of the end of my own music career. And so I could write about maybe like how I wish I knew how to play music. So go ahead and write some ideas for yourself. What is some passion that you have about music? What about pets? We just got our first dog, and his name is Ollie, and he's a Yorkie Bichon mix. And I'm not a dog person, but I'm an Ollie person. So I could write about that. I could also write about not having pets growing up and what that was like. So maybe you could write about your pets. Maybe you love your pet snake or your pet hamster or whatever it is, right? Have you gone anywhere interesting? So when I was in high school, I hadn't really gone to very many places, but I did do these long drives to visit my grandparents every summer. And those were a lot. We also went to Cedar Point. That was like Kings Island, but up where I lived. So I could write about going to Cedar Point, even though it was, only like 45 minutes away. That was still traveling. I did go to the beach once in high school, and so I could write about that. So could you think about some travel that you've done, either, in Ohio, or maybe you've had the chance to go farther than that? Can you think about your favorite places? My favorite place, some of you have heard me talk about this, is this place called Dietz's Ice Cream. It's up where I grew up in Findlay, which I could put Findlay, is one of my favorite places. I also love the Nature Center. That's one of my favorite places. My grandma's house, I could write a lot about that. So go ahead and jot some ideas down about favorite places. I could also think about items that are important to me. For me, when I was in high school, my first car was really important. I know you're not quite there yet, but that was something that was really important to me. You could also think about other items like prized possessions that you have. Um, I had like a certain pair of corduroy pants that I know that makes me sound kind of like old, but I loved it. A CD that I loved. I know you probably don't have CDs, but you could think about devices that are kind of like prized possessions. Go ahead and pause this video if you need to, but go ahead and jot some ideas for yourself. Like, what are your own ideas for your own possible topics that you could write about? And what we're going to do is pick one of these topics to write a multi-genre project about. So which of these topics do you think you could write about in a couple of different ways and maybe even from different perspectives? Okay, so go ahead and finish filling out your chart. And then in the next question on your Google form, we're going to ask you to share 2 or 3 ideas about topics you have. Okay, great. I can't wait to see what you choose.